I'm gonna start by just kind of explaining what I'm looking at here and why. So this is gonna be pretty heavily involved in Gatsby. Gatsby is, I think they want to get away from the branding of, they're not just a static site generator, but it's a framework built on top of React where you can do static sites, but it also has this, like, you can mix dynamic and static pages as well. So it's not limited to static sites, but I'm using it as my static site generator as my framework for my personal site, JAMsQuick. And I've got several things on the site that need data sources of some sort. The main thing, and this is the most common, is the blog. And if you missed the stream last week, I know a couple of you in the stream now were there last week on the CS degree versus programming bootcamp versus self-taught. I just wrote an article kind of summarizing some of those thoughts and included in there as the video, so you can go and check that out too. But like the blog, actually, the data for the blog is stored somewhere. And I've got several things that will be like that. One is my upcoming and previous streams page. I want to have a list of all the streams I've done and the ones that are coming up. And maybe, I don't know if I need the previous ones, but I want to have a list of those. And the problem I'm having is, like, I want to go ahead and add all these streams, but it's a little bit cumbersome to add them, and I'll show you why. So let's just start with, like, the idea of a blog. All of the content for the blog is stored inside of my source code. So it's inside of source, and then inside of, I'll make this a little bit bigger if that helps, inside of a data directory, inside of posts. And then I have a folder for each one of my blog posts. Inside of each folder, I have an index.md, which is a markdown file. And then it has this sort of metadata up here. So title, slug, that's the URL. The publish date, the tags, the whether or not it's actually published, and then a cover image. And then some of these actually have images embedded in them. So they have a images directory inside to store the images specific for that blog post. Most of the posts I do, I don't actually include images because I don't want to store them, which is a little bit sad. So mostly it's just like code snippets and writing. But anyway, so to create a new blog post, what I would do is I would basically copy and paste this folder. I would rename it. I would go into the markdown file. I would get rid of all of the main content, get rid of like all of this, and then update all the metadata, or the front matter is what they call it, for the specifics for this post. So update the title, slug, publish date, tags, etc. And there's a couple of things that are just really not nice about that, to be honest. The copy and pasting is not great because then I have to go and update everything. Then I type in a title, but then I also have to like convert that to a slug manually. I don't really like that. I also have to like decide specifically on what the publish date is and make sure that's formatted correctly. And all in all, honestly, it's just kind of a hassle. I like that my files are included in the source code. That's nice. Brad says a comment, you could do the slug manually. Yes, I could. The potential problem, maybe not necessarily, is I may not want the slug to be the full title that's slugified, I guess. I might want to have it be something slightly different, mainly because of length. And that may be less of a problem than I think. It may just be that the best thing is to go ahead and slugify this thing programmatically, and that'll take care of it. The thing we're about to look at actually gives me both of those options, which is nice. So anyway, I'm just kind of looking for something different. And headless CMSs are this big hot topic, and there's so many different options. And I tweeted about this recently and actually had like a really engaging post where I said there's like a gap in headless CMS options where there's a free tier, but then the next level up is like $100, or like some of them is like a couple $100, and it's like a big jump for someone on a side project to spend. And I got all these comments, and I got lots of comments about Sanity.io and how people love Sanity. And the founder, what's up, Chris? Hi, thanks for coming. The founder of Sanity actually like got into the conversation and messaged me as well and specified like pretty generous free tier. And then on top of the free tier, you can pay for individual things if you want to scale those up. So let me actually, I had this page up earlier. Let me open up the Sanity pricing. And so one part of this is really intimidating. The 0 to 199, I think they could probably do a better job of specifying that you get the ability to where was this? Generous quota included. You get the ability to have all these different things and then pay specific for those different categories that you may need. So like if you need assets, $1 for 2 gigs a month, documents, data sets, requests, you can pay for those individually and still keep a pretty low cost, which I'm excited about. Chris is super drowsy and about to crash, and I probably am not going to help you out too much in terms of staying awake, but I'll try to entertain you as best I can while you're here, Chris. All right, so I'm interested in Sanity because it's got a free tier that is pretty generous, and then it looks like I could scale up and spend a couple bucks a month in different categories if I needed to, which I think I'm a long way away from anyway, to be able to support the things that I'm doing. So my goal is to incorporate Sanity as my backend, my data source for my blog posts, my streaming schedule, I don't know who's calling me. I think some other things like I have a resources page that I haven't really advertised yet. I've got a uses page that I haven't really advertised yet. Anyway, all of that stuff can go and live inside of this backend. So I'm going to check out a branch called add sanity from master. And I'll just, actually we might be installing packages here, so I'll hold off on that. But let's just look at like a sanity getting started. And I think this is actually a unique thing where you can run sanity as its own thing and then basically just connect to it from your Gatsby site. So I think this will end up being like 2 deployed applications, I think. So they've got some starter templates here. Say I could create a project. I'm not even sure what this is going to do. Sign in with Sanity, connect to GitHub, connect to Netlify. And this is going to create like a whole blog. I think that's going to include the Gatsby part too that I don't need. I don't know if anyone actually knows specifically. I don't know where the best place to get started without that. Maybe just this part down here. Fresh Sanity app. I thought, Brad is saying, I thought Sanity was hosted. So my interpretation of this is that it is not hosted. And this was a surprise for me. So this is something you can run locally and then host yourself. And like the database behind the scenes, I guess, is hosted. I'm not actually really sure. Since you have a front end, you should just start a new project from the CLI. Yeah, I think we're all on the same page. I think that's what Corey was saying as well. So I'm going to start with like a brand new Sanity project. And I think that's just with installing the CLI globally and then doing a Sanity init. So I think we're probably good there. Yeah, the database is hosted. And then like my instance of Sanity that I host is connected to that database, I think. So let me just inside of here, I'm going to install this package globally. And I'm not really sure what this is going to do. I'm going to go back a directory into my code directory. Sanity comes with a real-time data store, and the Sanity Studio, the CMS, is a React app that connects to it. Makes sense. Yep, I'm kind of formalizing my understanding of what's going on, so that does make sense to me. Good. My wife said that they rescheduled my dentist appointment, which I didn't know I had one. So anyway, so I guess from here I do a Sanity init, and I think this will create a project here. It's going to ask me how I want to authenticate. Usually with anything like dev related, I just do GitHub. This will probably open a website for me to authenticate with GitHub. Maybe. I thought it would have. It seems to just be sitting there. I'm not really sure. Anybody know where or how this is supposed to like start the authentication process with GitHub? That didn't seem to do it. Huh, maybe, I don't know. Let me cancel that. Do you have another browser window open? I looked at all of my... So I've got this one here, and then I've got these, and as far as I know, that's it. I've got the other tab open, which is just a Twitch stream, so that I can see myself and what the people in the chat are saying. I'm not sure. Let me just try it again. Sanity init, and I'll try with GitHub again. All right. For whatever reason, that didn't seem to work the first time, but cool. If you've never done anything like this, this is a pretty common workflow where you authenticate with some other application to be able to basically log into that application. And this gets into identity. And for what it's worth, for everyone that's out there, I do work for Auth0, which is an identity company, and we do authentication and authorization services for developers. So making that as easy as possible to integrate into your applications. I was actually working on some integration earlier that I'll probably stream about sometime soon. Anyway, gonna go ahead and authorize Sanity. This should redirect after I accept. I'm not a newsletter guy for the most part, so I'll probably skip that. Login was successful. Now close the tab and return to the terminal. So back in the terminal, this is the project name, and this is just going to be JAMsQ Quick. So this is my site. I think that'll work as a project name. And then use the default data set. Let's see. Your content will be stored in a data set that can be public or private, depending on whether you want to query your content with or without authentication, which I do, I think. The default data set has a public data set name production. So I don't think I want it public, although I don't necessarily know. I don't think it, why KML, why would you, so it's less complicated. Is there any, it would just be read only access, right? Is there any reason why I would not want people to have read access? I mean, in theory, like they could just go and grab all of my posts. You want to come on and say hi? No. Okay. Love you. Bye. Have fun. No. They feel bad for you for going to work, by the way. Oh, yeah. Okay. Love you. It will be read only and only published posts. Yeah. So I guess if people wanted to read from it, they could do the same thing by coming to scraping my XML feed, right? So there's I'll go public for now. I think that's fine. So use default data set configuration. Yes. Do a capital Y there. It's going to create the data set. I'm assuming what's going on is out there somewhere in the world. It's creating this stuff inside of a database to maintain this stuff. And then project path, actually rats. I should have renamed this to be JAMsQ Quick Backend or Sanity or something. See you, Chris. Have a good nap. So anyway, rats, what path did they have in there? Shoot. Let me get a new terminal just so I can double check my path. Can I use a relative in here? No, probably not. How do you see a full path in Linux without doing the shorthand there? Is it /users? Is that what it is? Yeah, okay. So /users JAMsQ Quick. And then inside of my root directory, I've got a code and then a new directory that'll be JAMsQ Quick, and I'll just call this Sanity. So we'll do a blog. That's what we're working with. And we get access denied, rat. So am I going to have to start that whole thing over? Okay. Create a new data set or choose that one. Project output path. Why? Well, let me just choose that one. Will that work? Okay. I don't know that that's exactly what I want because I think that's going to put it inside of my source code for my main project, which I think there's two. All right, Walker. See ya. KML says suspect VS Code doesn't have write access. I actually just updated my Mac and I've had to deal with a lot of permission things recently, so maybe that is what's going on. But it did it to this directory, which is interesting. So I don't know. Oh, and I guess maybe I can just rename the folder when we get done. That's probably what I will do. So that'll take a little bit, and then I'll go and rename that folder just to add on the Sanity part. How many people in here have actually used Sanity before? Sounds like a couple people are at least aware of what it is. I don't know if you've used it specifically or not, but if you have, that's great that you're here to be able to help me out. All right, then I'm going to, Brad says not me. Dicha says across. I don't know if that means yes or no, to be honest. I'm going to open up, actually, let me look at this directory. There's JamesQQuick. I'm going to rename JamesQQuick to JamesQQuick Sanity, and then open up Sanity. And that should open up here. And now I got to figure out what the hell we're looking at. So inside of the package.json, Luke Holster says I have. Cool. So if you know anything to help me get started that I'm missing, feel free to throw it in there really quickly. So it looks like there's a start command for Sanity Start. It's got these different things in there. It's a React application, and I could run the start command. And I think this will start up Sanity at port 333. We'll see if that's right here in a second. By the way, like I kind of said this at the start, like I created my upcoming streams page, but I haven't really updated the content because of how much of a hassle it is to add multiple things. So I'm like desperate to start looking at something like this. Let's see. Localhost 3333. And how, so there's got to be like some sort of config page or something in here that knows what to sanity JSON. There's a project ID, so that'll be the unique identifier. And then it must be associated with my GitHub account. So it should, I'm assuming, prevent anyone else getting in here once this thing is hosted. So I get in here and here's what I got. So I've got 3 different types of content. I've got a post with no post in there. So let me create a new document and just say this is a test post. And then here's what I was talking about earlier. Is I can generate the slug based on that, and then I could go and customize it too. I don't need an author, and then I don't have an image right this second. You can add categories of tests, and does it only let you? Oh, so we have to choose categories. Cool. I like that. I kind of like that actually. So that'll be good. And then I've got a date picker, which is nice. I don't have to like go in and format dates. That's cool. And then the body, I'm assuming you can just put Markdown in here. I don't know for sure. Dicha is asking, how does Studio work with Gatsby preview? I'm curious what Studio you're talking about. So I can publish this thing, and cool. So now I've got this post, and in theory, like I could go and hit the correct API endpoint and go and get this information to start. So I'll come back to that. I think what I want to do is look inside of these schemas, and here's the definition, the type definitions for each of these things. So what they appear to have is a few properties: the name, the title, the type, it's a document, and then all of the fields. So what I want to do is map over, let's see, all of these things. I'm just gonna copy these over to make sure I get them. So this is not real code. I'm just making sure I get them. So title, check. We've got a title property. We've got a, do they call it slug? Yeah, we've got a slug property. Great. There's a author, which I probably don't need. Categories, which I will. Published at. So I could update all of my published date to be published at. That's fine. Or actually, why don't we go ahead and rename that, since like, let's just stick with what we're doing. So let's say publish date, and then publish date, and then it's going to be a type of date time, which is nice. And it looks like KML says you can either make a shortcut that takes you to your Gatsby preview, or use split panes to embed it. I'm not sure what that means. I might have to get caught up on that. Then we've got the body, and I think the body is just the HTML property, so we're going to have to change how we reference that. We've got tags and publish date. We don't have to check if it's published, I don't think. Getting ahead of you, James. No worries. We'll get there. And then cover image, it's got a property down here for main image, which I'll just change to cover image. So this way, it'll at least match as much of the stuff as I've already stubbed out as possible. Okay, now, so with that updated, if I come back to my dashboard and I look at post, and I refreshed it inside of here, did it rename these things? Publish, actually, I think so. So publish date. And then what was another one that we renamed? Unknown fields. What are the unknown fields? Published at. Okay. So did we get, no, we didn't get the published date. So what it did is it got rid of published at because now it's no longer a field that we care about. So let's get rid of that one. And then we'll update the publish date. This is the one that we do care about. So this is starting to look almost exactly like what I need. And we'll need to add categories. That's really cool. I love having like a full list of, because right now, actually, so I'll show you inside of my blog. Oh, not the Sanity one, but this one, my site, inside of the blog or blog page. I've just got a hard-coded list of tags or categories here. So I can definitely use like a clear like set of categories. Brad says, I can see the clear mapping between the schema and the Sanity React app serving up the editor. Yeah, that seems nice so far. All right, we can go into categories, and this, I mean, I'm assuming this will just have like just a title, right? I mean, web development is going to be one. I don't need the description, to be honest. I can add another one of React. And anybody got some popular ones? React, Node, just JavaScript in general. Publish that one. I've been doing a lot of like people skills. So people skills, something like that. Sweet. So there's a couple of ones to start with. And then in my post, I should be able to go and grab from categories. I should be able to choose from that list. So people skills or React or whatever. So that works pretty well. That's cool. So we've got the React one there, and I can publish that article. And then again, I should, whatever the API is, I could be able to go out and make a query to it. People that have some experience with Sanity, anything I need to, I think my next step is to go into Gatsby and add like a Sanity plugin to be able to read from this Sanity. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going next, Brad, I'm assuming there's a Gatsby sort Sanity. Yes, we'll see that in a second. Anything I need to be aware of or check in the meantime before we jump to like trying to integrate this into Gatsby? Anything for people that are more familiar with this? And Brad's going to make it as easy on me as possible to go ahead and install that thing. Sweet. So I'll actually copy. Should be good to go. Sweet. Don't necessarily, assuming you're using like a relatively modern version of NPM, you don't have to do the save flag anymore, which is kind of nice. So let's go into, not Haynes, but James QQuick site. Let's go back into that directory. That's the folder that I have open, and let's just install Gatsby source Sanity. And while that's installing, I want to open Gatsby source Sanity to see how to use this thing. So inside of Gatsby, source plugin for pulling data from Sanity into Gatsby sites, developing compatible with Gatsby image. That's actually really nice. That's one of the issues that I had before when checking out, Cosmic JS, is you couldn't use Gatsby image. What Gatsby image is, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Let's see. If I refresh my page and you look really closely at like my picture icon, it gives like a fuzzy image to start, and then it loads the real one. So it like optimizes the like loading of images. Gatsby image takes care of all of that stuff. It's a little cumbersome to set up, to be honest, a little confusing for me. But after you get it set up and use it, then it's just super nice because it takes care of everything. Did Cosmic send down actual HTML instead of Markdown? No? Question mark? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that that I got actual Markdown. I'm not positive about that, actually. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I looked at it, so actually I would lie to you if I told you one way or another. Maybe we can look at that later. All right. On the documentation for this, let's go to basic usage, just getting started. We'll need to add this plugin, and for that plugin, we're going to need, let's just copy this thing. We're gonna need a project ID, and I think, well, I'll have to check actually where to get that, but let's go to the config in Gatsby. I'm gonna move this thing down. Like if you were reading Markdown from Cosmic, not sure why it wasn't compatible. Oh, you know, I don't know. And honestly, it could have been that I just wasn't quite as aware of how to use Gatsby image. So I don't remember exactly what it was. I just remember I couldn't figure it out at the time. I know a lot more than I did then, but I don't know. So inside of here, I don't know if people out there have like a specific like structure for adding new things. I just end up adding them to the end. So I'm copying this in. It's saying that we're going to use the Gatsby source Sanity. This is the freaking amazing thing about Gatsby is all these plugins, and it's so easy to do. And then we want a project ID and a data set. Now the data set is probably or actually post, I guess, here. So we'll do data set, or is data set the type, or is it the overall? Is JAMSQ Quick the name of my data set, or is it post? I don't actually know about this. Data set is production. Okay. So why did they have, interesting. Okay. So the data sets, you can have like a prod data set and then a test data set. I wonder, a data set is all of your documents. So just to double check that both of you agree, the data set is JAMSQ Quick in this case, or sorry, not. Okay, it is production. So everybody seems to agree that it's production. Okay, cool. So the data set is production. Does that mean I can have different data sets for development? And then can I tell like Gatsby to go, depending on which mode I'm running in, to go and get different ones? Is that what that means? Can you find that in the GUI somewhere? Okay, so sounds like I'm on the right page. I like that. That's cool. Brad says, can you find that in the GUI? I don't know. I'm assuming, Brad, what we probably can find is in the source code, maybe for the Sanity JSON. There's the data set and the project ID, exactly what we needed. So inside of the configuration file for Sanity, there's the project ID and the data set. Cool. So I'll paste that in there. That should do everything it needs to be able to connect. This is open, so I don't need a token. This still feels weird. I'm gonna trust you all for now. It feels weird for that to be open, but logically it makes sense for it to be open because it's just stuff that other people could get anyway. Emotionally, it feels odd. And then if the Sanity GraphQL API was deployed using tag name, use GraphQL tag to specify the tag name defaults to default. Okay, so this is just a default setting. I don't think I did anything special, so hopefully that will stay as a default. So lots of good conversation over here. If you do a $ Sanity data set export production and check the files, you get a pretty clear idea of what goes on. A document is just a collection of fields, can be as big as a page or as small as like an author. Yeah, and you saw like when I created the category here only has 2 different properties. I actually only need one of them. For me, I don't need a description. So actually, let's go ahead and update that. Inside of my other project, let's open back up the category, and let's just get rid of description. And I'm thinking that will just go away. So if I come back to the GUI and actually it's already gone. So it's got like a live reloading thing. That's pretty sweet. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Now let's see what it's like to incorporate this into Gatsby. So I'm going to make one of the things I'm curious what people think when people stream and they've got like code and browser side by side. From a developer perspective, it drives me crazy because they're both so small. So I end up like swiping through screens, and that might be a little jarring for everyone, but like it drives me crazy having such a small screen. So I don't know let me know if it bugs you either way. And I always, like 20 minutes into a stream, I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like standing anymore, so I'm gonna sit down. That's why I code with 2 monitors. So yes, I definitely have 2 monitors going, but remember, I'm trying to get the code for you to see. So I'm streaming from 1 monitor, which means for you to see everything, that means it has to be there. Is set the title bar color and VS Code to distinguish between the 2 open windows. So that's probably using the Peacock extension by John Papa to do the different colors. I don't necessarily find myself having that issue that much. It's built in. Oh, where if you go to like probably one of the title bar, is there a setting? Title bar style, custom. I don't know if you're just talking about the ability to distinguish between front and back end. That doesn't matter a whole lot to me. I haven't gotten to that point where I needed that much. So for what it's worth. All right, so let's go back to Gatsby, and let's just start this up. So Gatsby develop. Dun, 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 dun. How many people have used Gatsby for something that they work on themselves? Also, I haven't done this yet. I've got my Stream Deck down here, and I've got like one little thing, button to say that I'm live on Twitch, and I wonder if that thing actually went through. Let me go to my home and profile and see. I'm live right now. Yeah, cool. So that button works from the Stream Deck. But it looked like I had a problem. Okay, GraphQL API not deployed. Interesting. So Gatsby in this case is going to be trying to reach out to that backend through GraphQL, and it's saying that it's not deployed. So hopefully someone can help me figure that out. You should deploy the GraphQL API from Sanity first, if I would read the comments. Cool. I'm super glad you guys are here, in all honesty. I say guys, which I shouldn't assume with names because I don't know, but people, glad that you're here. So it says I need to deploy that GraphQL backend. So should I think of this as like in the WordPress days, you can have like a deployed, like your actual WordPress thing out there on a server. And then I can also have a copy of WordPress running locally, and that thing is what I'm working with, but you're saying I need to actually deploy that thing out somewhere. Am I saying that correctly? And then Deecha says he's got a 1,700 page site with Gatsby. Sweet. That's cool. When it starts up, thanks for the detailed description here. When it starts up, it does 3 things. It fetches the GraphQL schema definition to prevent missing fields. You're talking about Gatsby, maybe? It streams all your documents into Gatsby. It sets up a listener. If you enable that, which enables changes in real time. So that's the 3 API requests, 2 to build the whole site. Sweet. Thank you for that. So how do I actually deploy this thing? Do I just deploy this by like deploying it to Netlify or something? I don't. Okay, sweet. Let's do that. Let's see inside of this project. I guess I can cancel this out. And then in your console, Sanity GraphQL deploy. So thank you for saying this is confusing for you. So I think my interpretation of this would be like the GraphQL deploy is basically like deploying the database changes to the database. Or is this actually setting up GraphQL for the first time? I'm wondering like when will I need to continue to do this in the future is what I don't quite understand. But I'll go ahead and run that. And do you want to enable a GraphQL playground? Yeah, let's do that. I'm assuming that'll give like a graphical endpoint. Okay, so all right, so you're saying when I make changes to the schema, the names and fields, I need to redeploy those things out. Yeah, so okay, that makes sense. So I wonder, up until this point where I just deployed, did I need to deploy because it never got deployed at all before? had it been deployed already and I just needed to update the schema, or was there nothing out there previously? I'm thinking there was probably nothing out there previously, and now from now on, I'll just update it when things change. This just republishes the GraphQL schema, so other integrations relying on it, including Gatsby. You had nothing out there previously. Sweet. All right, I think I'm good. Thank you guys so much. Again, people, thank you people for so much for being here. This is incredibly helpful to have people help me through this. So that is deployed. Now it sounds like I should be able to run my Gatsby develop and it will talk okay. We need another stream about GROQ Sanity.io native query language for JSON. Sure. You're going to have to walk me through all of that. I've never even heard of it, but that would be fun. And I think Gatsby is doing more than it had before. So that looks good. So can I see a local copy of my site? Yes. Sweet. And what I can get is my embedded version with Gatsby of graphical. And what I should be able to do, if I'm understanding this correctly, is I can go to all Sanity post and do nodes and then get, let's say, what is it? It's in fields. Or actually, let's go ahead and get all these. Let's start with title. So if this is configured correctly, I should be able to query all the posts, which I don't really have any. I've just got the test post, and that is freaking sweet. So graphical in Gatsby, the way it knows the definitions for the objects, gives me IntelliSense, gives me a GUI to be able to create these queries, is freaking awesome. Love it. Okay, so let's just look at everything that I will need. What is the raw categories? Is that just going to be like, is that just a string? No, it's not. Okay, so probably, I don't think I want, well, I don't know. Raw cover image, raw slug. I wonder what these, so there's a slug down here, and there's a key and a type and a current. I don't know what those things are. So it looks, is current looks like it's going to be the most relevant value for these things. So there's slug, and then the body is, now this is getting interesting because I don't know all of these properties. Slug current is where you'll find your slug. Okay, so what about body? List? I don't know why it would be list. I don't know what that is. Style? I wouldn't think it would be style. Normal. Sanity children. Text? Nope. Sanity's rich text is saved. We need to talk about portable text. There's so many things to learn. We need to talk about portable text. Sanity's rich text is saved as JSON structure. Okay. Inside of Sanity, can I restart this? Oh, I killed the Sanity server. Let me restart that. PM start. Sanity's rich text is saved as JSON, which lets you output rich text content as native React components. Wow, that is, I don't quite fully understand what that means yet, so we'll have to get there. And I'm starting up the Sanity server again. Inside of this, like what type of, so post, the data type for the cover image, categories, publish date, the body type of block content. So I'm not sure exactly what that is. Minimal demo here. Go into the block content. Oh, didn't know that was there. This is a schema definition for the rich text fields used for this Blog Studio. When you import it, it can be reused in other parts. So, block content array. So there are those things that I just saw. I don't know what that is. So let me, super customizable. I think I think there's definitely a learning curve to this that I will have to get into. Let me ask you one question that hopefully is pretty easy. What's the best thing if I want to store like raw Markdown inside of Sanity? What's the best type to store raw Markdown in? Don't want Markdown. Okay. What do I want? So if you, like when you do, is this what people would typically use with blog posts? Is this thing? There's a Markdown type with a plugin. Okay. So this block content thing, I've got like a big gap here in understanding what it is in relation to replacing the main content for my, there's a plugin type. Yeah, so I've already got Markdown, and I think I would continue to use Markdown. I'm wondering, like, what would you use all these marks and things for? It looks like this has got the ability to do some sort of like basic Markdown type stuff. Set of Insanity sends down React components. I'll get on stream later and enlighten you about the wonderful wonders of portable text. I appreciate that. That would actually be helpful. There's an NPM package you can add with a React component. You just hand the block data to. Man, I'm like, my eyes are wide open now because I'm still trying to put all this stuff together. Let's look at this thing that you just sent. And in the meantime, the localhost should be up and running again for Sanity. Sweet, so that's there. And this thing is block content to React. Render an array of block text from Sanity with React Native. Serializers. Wow, this is like a whole new world of things that I have like no idea what's going on. So with Gatsby basically, or with the Gatsby all remark, whatever that plugin is that does Markdown, it basically takes all the Markdown and converts it to HTML. And I just don't really know what all these things are doing. So this package is block content. And then you have a block content component in React that you can set the blocks to the article body and the serializers. You can just pass the block content props to this block, and yep, like that. I need custom serializers right now. The simpler version of what you're saying is just to import it, then do the block content. So can you help me understand? Maybe I can run with you. Inside of graphical, for the body property, let's see, where is that? For body, which one of these things will get me that block content? Does that make sense, what I'm asking? You just want raw body. So this thing. And do I have to... Huh, okay. Raw body. And then that raw body thing will... That's all. It'll return JSON. So it'll be a JSON representation of... I don't need this anymore. JSON representation of this. Is that what you're saying? And do I write Markdown in this or no? That sounds right, Brad. No Markdown. Just use the formatting bar. Okay, so So here's one of the potential issues, or maybe not an issue, maybe it is. If I move everything over to Sanity and for some reason I don't like it and I want to go back to having Markdown embedded in my project, then I've potentially got an issue. Like Markdown is pretty universal, so I thought I would be able to stay with Markdown. Would I be able to choose? Is there any sort of like, can I type Markdown directly into, you can serialize portable text to anything, which means, wow, man, this is like a whole new world of stuff that I like didn't know about coming into this. Are you saying that I can write Markdown in this and then I can serialize it? I can convert it to Markdown on the front end and use it basically the way I've been using it. All right, there's another plugin. Nice. Let's look at this. Sanity plugin, Markdown input component and schema type for Sanity. Sanity install Markdown, so you can install it right down into your thing. Basic usage, just type Markdown on a field in your schema. Type Markdown. Okay. So I think I want to try this. If you don't want to dive into portable text at the moment, Markdown plugin will let you. Okay, yeah, I think that's what I want to do for now. I am really interested in what all these other things are, but just for portability and getting started for what I've already got quicker, I do want to go ahead and start with Markdown. Cool. So I think I would do this. So let's go ahead and install this thing into Sanity. So let's close this, install that thing. And then inside of my post, I will determine this body stuff to be of type just Markdown, right? Blog post type, document, fields, type Markdown. Okay. So type Markdown. All right. And then I will do npm start because I want to see this in the editor first. And then I need to also publish the GraphQL endpoint out so Gatsby can see it again. At least use React Markdown. I don't know exactly what React Markdown is. Is that like in the front end? Is that like MDX? React.render, React Markdown, and then you give it a source. What's the difference in that? I guess like right now for a blog post, nope, wrong project. For a post in this one, not CSS, but blog post. Inside of here, so I am doing dangerously set HTML based on Gatsby converts the Markdown to HTML. What React Markdown will do is it'll allow me to just take the raw Markdown and then use it in Gatsby to display Markdown. So it'll probably does something similar where it converts it to HTML and then calls dangerously set HTML. So I'll probably use that in a second. So two things I got to do. I want to see the GUI because I want to refresh this and I want to see what that post looks like. Okay, remove value and then body. Now this should be a title and some text. Publish. So that thing is published. Now let's publish the GraphQL part of this. So Sanity GraphQL deploy. Let's put that out there. Yes, enable the playground. I guess if you have the wiring in place, it's fine, but React Markdown will let you use components for different Markdown elements, so more control over rendering. I prefer Markdown to JSX, so many different things, but both it and will actually parse Markdown and render full components instead of using. What kind of components does it render exactly? Like it will, like instead of just dumping a raw Markdown string as the HTML, it will actually like convert it to like H1 tags, React elements for basic HTML elements. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Found breaking changes, body raw. Yeah, I think I want to do that. So let's go ahead and deploy this. Let's do an npm start to get that back up and running. In the meantime, the Gatsby project, I can restart, and this should go out and connect to the newly deployed GraphQL definition that includes the ability to do Markdown. And we should be able to go from there, hopefully. So you have a component for code examples. Yeah, I don't have a component for that. I've got styles for it, but I don't have like a specific component. Is this getting into like an MDX type thing where you can define, or you can write React components or use React components inside of your Markdown? Is that kind of what you're talking about? Okay, gotcha. So I haven't done any of that yet, so I'm kind of far away from that. But I think we're at least making progress in the right direction. But even for basic elements. Okay, so then I would have control over styling in H1 and blah, 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 I guess. So if you have a custom image component or something. Okay. Nothing that fancy yet. So here's my item inside of my test post. If I come to graphical, now if I refresh this, it should get the new definition for a body. That thing is gone. And now I want to grab the body, which just is the Markdown string. Sweet. There that is. Okay, so that'll work. All right, so I'm going to make sure that I'm grabbing all of the right properties. So inside of the blog page in the query over here, what are all the things that I'm grabbing? So I need an ID. Is that this guy? Is it underscore ID? So there's an ID. My publish date. So I need that thing, which is here. And what does this one do? Is there a prettier one? Or there's a locale? From now, I wonder what that is. Can I set from now to true? In 6 days? In 6 days? Oh, I chose that thing in the future. Cool. All right. I'm going to just keep it as format string. So that'll give me this thing. I should be able to convert that to a manual date and then display it how I want. And I guess I'll have to do the excerpt thing myself, so I can figure that out myself in JavaScript. So did I get tags or categories is what they're called now? Raw categories, resolve references. Oh, ugh, gross. Type category. That's not what I want. Categories here. And what's is it title for the category? Yeah, so this thing only had, okay, cool. So getting the category there, that's the title property of the category object. And I'm going to have to convert all these to make sense with what I've got. Okay, so let's recap. I've got title, I've got publish date, I've got tag, slug. The cover image, I don't even want to get into yet unless, yeah, I'm going to skip the cover image for now because images just end up getting tricky, to be honest, with the Gatsby image. So that looks to be about what I need. So let's just try it out. Let's grab all of this query. Let's just post it or paste it in here. So there's our new query. And like, honestly, I'm just going to comment all this stuff out. And I just want to see what the data looks like. So we'll see if we're actually getting data inside of my blog page. Looks like there's some sort of error. These things down here, not defined. Yeah, because I don't have anything. So is there a better way that people go through? Like, I'm completely changing the way I do this. So I'm just hacking this along. So can I do that? Will it respect that? Why did this just get so big? I don't care about that. Come down the bottom. Okay, it's doing something. Let's go to the website running locally here. We start it up, and there was an error while doing a query. Encounter duplicate definitions for one or more element. Each document must have a unique name, and I guess this is in the GraphQL thing. So I think before, like inside of here, I just had query. I don't know that makes. I don't know what difference that makes, to be honest. All right, so that's getting something. We're getting somewhere. Inside of the console, we see an object, which will have an all sanity post and node. Sweet. We got the data. So that's pretty sweet. That'll work. And what we want to do is now get rid of all these tags, I think. Let's get rid of all of those. I may have... Eventually, I might use the ability to do this stuff, the sorting. And let's just get raw post again. So raw post is going to be data.all sanity post, all sanity post.edges.filter. And actually, I don't want to filter yet. So this is actually going to be just nodes is going to be each item. So nodes. So I'll come back to the filtering. So here's my blog editor using the code input for, let's see what you got there. Interesting. So those inserts, are those custom things you did? Those are. Okay, sweet. Interesting. So I like the YouTube embed is cool. I've actually got let me show you inside of one of these Markdown files. I actually have plugins to work with this, but I don't know if it's going to work going forward with what I've got set up now. So I might need something that will be able to do YouTube stuff. So that might be worth looking into. And here's the polemical. Is that what is that a word that I just don't know? Let's see. And here's the actual blog post. And you got some fancy. I like the way that code is elevated, with the box shadow and stuff. That's cool. Sweet. Built with Sanity and Gatsby. Nice. Okay. I definitely want to learn all about that more intimate stuff. Sam Julene is rating with a party of 2. Sam is a developer advocate on we're on the same team, not on my team, but on our team. So Sam just got done with a stream. Hopefully it went well, Sam. We are looking at moving all of my content to Sanity.io. So we've got Sanity set up. It's actually pretty freaking sweet so far, and we're at least able to query the data from Sanity inside of Gatsby, which is pretty sick. You got Prism working, sweet, and that was for your code syntax highlighting inside of inside your blog post. I don't actually remember. Oh, I can't see it because, well, I guess I could go to my regular site. I can't remember what I did for mine, which plugin. It was some Gatsby plugin I found, and I don't love that color scheme, but it's all right. So I might need to revisit that. Gatsby remark VS Code. That might be what I'm using, to be honest. And then can you choose a VS Code theme? Let me see if that's what I'm using. Let me go package.json and code. Yeah, Gatsby remark VS Code. That's what I'm using. Sweet. MDX doesn't work with the regular plugin, so you replace code and pre-tags with custom components. Okay. So you got some extra things that you got to figure out there. But Brad, I'm using the same thing you are. And maybe I need to, they're just NPM packages. So maybe I can actually install the theme that I use, the Cobalt 2 theme from WestBoss. But anyway. Whew. All right. So going back to our blog post page, we'll get the raw post, data.all sanity post edges nodes. let's log those out to make sure I'm getting those correctly. And then I probably want to map those to a format that I'm used to. Property nodes of undefined. I don't think I need edges. So let's log that out. Do we see that here? Cool. So there's all of our blog posts. So that is all the stuff that I need, I think, which is good. And then like slug, I don't necessarily want to be current. So I'm going to go through and say formatted posts, or this could just be posts. And let's do a map, and let's get each map. And then what we want to return is a new object. So we'll see how we're going to do this. So we'll take the slug is going to be the post.slug.current, maybe. And actually, let's just copy in all of the original properties, and then we'll customize the ones we want to. Let me know if people have any ideas on better way to do this. I just want to get these in a format that like each of the properties are in the places that I expect. So we'll copy in all the properties from the original post. Then we'll update the slug property with post.slug.current. So we get rid of like its object type. And then we've got the body. So we'll use that in a second. We've got our publish date and then categories. I might take categories. Can I do this right in line? Categories is going to be post.categories.map. Is that, can I do that? And we'll say for each category, I feel like this is going to get like way too hacky. I can clean this up later, but for each category, I want to return the category.title. So category.title, and then do a .join separated by a comma space. Does that make sense to just do that right in line? So it's just one string, because I don't think I need to do anything special with them. I just want to have like the one string. Actually, I might not. So up above, when I did this, I had a separate function for this, and it's because I wanted them to be in like tags themselves. So yeah, maybe more what I want to do. Maybe I just want to do like the categories.map. So this will be an array of the category and just get rid of the fact that it's an object, and it'll just have the category like string inside of categories array. So I think that'll be good. Categories, is that all the properties that I need? Sweet. Let's look at what that looks like. And we could take this one step further if we wanted to and get fancy and get rid of the return, and then just have the object right there. Does that work? And let's log out posts. Hacking with JavaScript. I like it. Let's do a refresh. Here's our new post. And on here, we've got title, slug, body, ID, categories is a array. Awesome. So that works. Sweet. I like this. There's our post. And then we got some filtering that I can do later on. This is actually doing like the same kind of formatting that I just did, which is a lot simpler. And this I want to enable now. And this is going to be post.tags.map. So this is going to take, instead of tags, I'm going to, let me do a replace for categories everywhere. And then for capital tags, we'll do categories, capital C. And we'll see if that works. All right, let's start. I mean, honestly, I can just uncomment all of this stuff now. So let's grab all this markup, and maybe except for, oh, actually, this is passing it to a card. So we'll need to go to the card and update it. So post.map, and then we'll have the categories in here. And actually, why don't we just pass the post categories into that? So this thing will just accept an array of categories, and this will be like this. All right, and so we'll do post.title and then publish date and then excerpt. I don't have an excerpt, so maybe what I need to do is also add a property in here for excerpt. And I don't know if anyone have any suggestions on the best way to do this. I would just do like post dot, oh, actually, this could get interesting because right now it's Markdown. which might not be a problem. That might be okay. So post.body.sub string. And I want this to start and go 0 to 100 or something, 100 characters. For SEO reasons, you might want an actual excerpt. What do you mean by actual excerpt? Not sure exactly what you mean there. Like if I wanted, as part of the post, I had a specific 2 sentences that like was the actual excerpt, like that was more targeted at like SEO. Is that what you mean? A customized text that pops up in social media previews and so on. Gotcha. Okay. I don't have that yet, but I think that's a good idea. So I will add that later on. For now, I'll just take the post.body substring 0 to 100. Actually, you know what? That's easy enough to. Let's just add it. I'm good with that. I'll wait. I'll do this for now. I'm going back and forth on everything. I'll do this for now, and then we'll come back to it. So then we're passing in to our card, the post.title, publish date, excerpt should be there, slug. I mean, that should be reasonably close. And holy shit, it actually, like, that works. Now, we need to update the markdown. So where do we actually... Okay, so the excerpt... We'll need to figure out the conversion of Markdown to HTML, which looks like we could install React Markdown and just do that way. So let's try it out. Let's do npm install React Markdown. Let's kill this, install it, and then inside of the card. Not all of these are gonna be Markdown for these cards, so. Do I want to convert all of these to use the Markdown? Maybe. Is that what I want to do? Maybe. Let's see. So let's require this thing up here. And then I'm going to give 2 different things. I'm going to display this twice. I'm going to display the React Markdown. And then what property is it? Source equals, and then this will be the description. Like that. Will that work? I got too many tabs open. That did. Wait. Why is the title up here? I don't know where that's coming from. Isn't HTML valid Markdown, so it should work regardless. If I just, you mean, well, so never thought of, so are you saying instead of doing dangerously set inner HTML, I could just do this? Is that what you're saying? Let's try it. Maybe not. Because that's still, I don't know where is this title thing coming from? You could pass HTML into the React Markdown component. Oh, I got you. So you're saying I could just choose the React Markdown component regardless and not worry about it. So we take out this, we kill this. Now what do we get? Oh, I'm an idiot. We get this title thing because inside of Sanity, I added a damn title in here, which doesn't need to be there. So that's another great reason to have the excerpt specifically so that we're not having to deal with like displaying Markdown, because there's no guarantee that the first 2 sentences or first 100 characters of this thing is not Markdown. So wish I had some lorem ipsum, but here I can just save this thing like this. Now if you hit publish, so good question. I was actually just about to check that. So let's do publish and then come back and it doesn't look like it. If I refresh, does it? No. I need a key prop in there. I think they're hop into Gatsby config. Yes, will do. Config, and you just need to enable it. I thought there was a thing for that. So any idea what? Let's look up the Gatsby source sanity and like reload or watch mode true. Is that just in the sweet? So in the options, probably watch mode Boolean true. So let's restart this. I am super glad I had so much help here today. This would have gone like drastically different if I didn't have your help in the chat. Okay, let's come back to our site. Let's refresh to see if we see this. Let's fix this key issue. If it is still an issue, let's go to blog. Where did I do that wrong? Blog, and then card. Did I not have this in there before? Surely I had that before, right? Key equals post dot underscore. Did I grab the ID? Yeah. So does that solve that problem? Refresh. Yes. Okay, sweet. This stuff is showing up good. And so let's test if we set some new text. I'm gonna set that to publish. Does this refresh with new text? Shit, that's cool. That's totally sweet. Does that have any implications in production or anything? I'm assuming it's smart enough to know Gatsby like won't do that live in production, will it? Or will it? I don't know. If you know, let me know. Nope, since Gatsby is built to static. Yeah, I mean, yes, it's built statically, but it's also built statically like right now. Is that thing actually triggering a rebuild of Gatsby? Is that what it's doing? Because it happened way too fast for it to be like a full rebuild. You know what I mean? And development Gatsby runs the server, and it renders. Yeah, so I guess it's got intelligence just to do that one little piece really quickly. Okay. Cool. When you build, it's just, yeah, that I know. Build, it's just HTML files and JSON files. Yeah, I was just wondering about the specifics of, yeah, you're right. Because it's actually running the server and it has whatever intelligence to do that. Kmelv says to add a token. Why now add a token? What does the token do for me now? If you add a token with read writes, it will update as you type. It demos well. Okay, so as I type without even publishing, you get to preview your drafts live. Huh. Wow, interesting. Okay. So, where in the hell do I get my token? So you actually have to get your token on Sanity.io, right? Like on their page. Log in to my GitHub. And this one. And I'm assuming I have to like choose to show the thing. API. And token, add new token. All right, so I'm gonna take this off of. Actually, I'll just hide you all for a second. No, because I don't have my audio set up. I need a new scene for doing credentials. I'll do that later on. I'm gonna take this away from you. Yes, thanks for reminding me. Add a new token. To create a token, please provide a label for it. I mean, this is just my sanity token. I don't know what else I need to do. Add a new token. There, that thing is. Okay, so now I can bring the website back over and make that full screen again. And then I need to put the token inside of my environment variables to then read into, put that in, and yeah, and then development file. In the, does that need to be, it doesn't need to be prefixed with Gatsby, right? Because then we're running Node. Like if you use environment variables inside of Gatsby browser code, you need to prefix it with Gatsby. But in this case, it should just be not prefixed, I think. So I'm going to bring this over to this side and go into env.development. And this will be my, what are we working on? Sanity, not API, or Sanity token. Is that what it is? Sanity token, yeah. All right, so I've got my Sanity token in the .env.development. And then inside of config, now, is it just, well, how did they set that up before? Let's see, this token goes here. Okay, so that, yeah, they did it same way. Under this stuff, and I didn't call mine I just did that. Sweet. So I have the token, I can use the token. Does that mean I need to change the way that the database is configured to require the token? You need .env or something. Yeah, I should have .env because I've used it for other things. That should work, I think. Oh, not that. So let's do a Gatsby develop again. I'm really excited about this, by the way. I'm like super excited. I think this is going to be so nice. The one question that I haven't quite wrapped my head around is how do I, and maybe that token answers this question, how do I preview stuff? How do I write stuff and preview it before I'm actually ready to hit publish? Does that make sense? So let's go to our site, and I guess I can make these side by side. So let me open up this window on that side. That's without that part. And then this one on that side. That little collapse thing is pretty cool. So is what we're saying, that was part of the question earlier on, to how to make it work with Gatsby preview. Okay. And I haven't tied Gatsby preview. I've not connected anything in here to Gatsby preview yet. So anyway, are you saying if I start typing, this should be, I don't know if it refreshed or not. Are you expecting, now that we have that token, that if I'm typing in here, it should reload over here without me having to do anything? Was that what we were expecting it to do? I don't see that happening. I just don't know if I've got the right expectation or if I'm missing something. Yeah, that was supposed to happen. Okay. I suspect it didn't pick up your .env development file. I'm going to go ahead and make these full screen. So inside of here, I'm using process.env. Maybe I'm not. I thought I was. Where in this project am I creating or using process.env? And this thing, in my functions directory. Yes, that makes sense. This is a blog post. That's a blog post. Streaming. Process.env. Gatsby Twitch. So I'm going to try, I copy and paste from, okay, let me open up that one. And let's just see where he put this thing. I said he or she, whoever it is that wrote the article. If you don't want to attach your Sanity Project's ID to the repo, you can move it to .env files like this. So they're using .env, not .env development. Maybe that's one of the issues. So let me take this thing off screen again, and let's go into my .env file, and let's add that sanity token there as well. All right, let's just try to run that again. So the require .env thing is what you need. Oh, so I said this all cocky, like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I've done this before. I guess I haven't actually done that in this project. I'm assuming I do have .env installed. Yes, but I'm not requiring it. So inside of here, we have to require .env and then call .config. Is that right? Yeah, thanks for double checking me on that. I could have sworn I was already doing that in this project, but apparently I'm not. So let's try it one more time. And then I think I've got that property in the .env development and .env. So anyway, hopefully it'll pick it up from one or the other. We'll see. I want to make this go full screen again. And then see, that gets done. Let's refresh. Let's come over to our, let me close a couple of these down. Close this one, that one, don't need that one. And where is my actual, oh, this is the thing I want. Okay, so doesn't look like, so the require.env thing is what you need. I did that right? The require.env, and it should be .config if I remember correctly. Require, yeah, you have to turn on overlay drafts, which is where? Duplicate, delete. I like that you can duplicate in here too. And the Gatsby config options. Okay, so back in the code, down here. And I guess this is why you're saying I should just copy all of that stuff. So let me double check what they have. I don't see, they don't seem to have that in this one. But let me look at this one to see over. No, what in the world? That's not what I wanted. Overlay drafts. So just set overlay drafts to true and then scroll up on this page. So set to true in order for drafts to replace their published versions. Gotcha. All right, so overlay drafts, it's true. Let's restart this again. Sorry, lag, no worries. I'm definitely taking a nap after this, by the way. See when that gets up and running. So again, I just want to make sure, like this, because I'm running Gatsby, like the server itself, this is working. This will not happen in production, right? It seems like it's pretty obvious at this point, but I'm just double checking. All right, so refresh this thing. And now I see some stuff change. And now if I do this, holy shit, that's cool. Test post. Wow. This works. That's crazy cool. like amazingly cool. That is sick. Okay. Wow. So assuming I'm right in that this will not affect prod, like when it's actually hosted in Netlify, that should be true. Went back to the question earlier. Sounds like it might be a Gatsby cloud thing. As long as you don't add the token to the build environment, it won't show unpublished content on prod. Would it even be able to do that regardless? Because like on prod, again, it's already been through like a build process, so it wouldn't be able to do the real time connection stuff, right? I normally do overdrafts, process CNV. Okay, that's a good idea. But right, no real time in production. Yeah, so like it wouldn't affect my production stuff anyway, right? Even if I left it all the same. But I do like the idea of just doing this to process.env.production. I think that's a good idea. Sweet, that works. Okay, so right, but if you had a draft at build time. Okay, cool. Oh, so this is the easier answer than getting into Gatsby preview potentially. Is I can always just use in a develop. So in a develop branch, well, a develop branch will still run as prod on. So some way in Netlify, I can figure out how to detect the branch and then decide whether or not to turn that thing on. Maybe. Here's how we do config for our starters. I bet I could figure that out, and that would be super slick. But K-Melf, are you a Sanity employee? Ah, no wonder. What do you do at Sanity? Running DevRel, what? Sick. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm in DevRel at yeah, obviously. I'm in DevRel at Auth0. Super cool to make the connection. I would love to do like a live stream on one of our respective channels, like the Auth0 channel, or if you have a Sanity channel, to collaborate there. I would love to make that connection. What's your Twitter handle? I want to make sure. Go ahead and find you on Twitter, if you don't mind. Is it the same? K-Melf. Already following you. Nice. All right, sweet. I bet I came across something you said before about Sanity. You could teach me how to make an Auth0 custom login for Sanity. Yeah, we'll have to do some digging together to figure that out. But I've been working on doing authentication in Gatsby. And Sam Julien, who I don't know if he's still in the chat, has been working on that as well, and doing like authentication on serverless endpoints and stuff. So that's the kind of like Auth0 related stuff I've been working on. But that would be super sick to work on that. So cool. Thanks for being here again. For everybody else that's been helping out. I really appreciate it. And you showed me the default setup. So it uses whatever the config stuff is that you have. And then the token, watch mode is prod, and this is cool. That makes sense. Is this .node env? Is this any safer than? I kind of like this actually. I wonder if that's any safer than doing process.env.production. I don't know, but I kind of like this. So let's do this at the top. There's an is prod because I might reuse this prod for something else. And then let's take watch mode and overlay drafts to be not prod. So look like this, and then this, and then this, and then let's restart this bad boy and see if it works. So one question, when I'm working on a post inside of Sanity, so it saves automatically. So by publishing, it makes it actually live. If I don't publish, it still saves, but it saves it as a draft. And that's where we're getting these like overrides with the real-time stuff. It's like Google Docs. Okay. Makes sense. Sweet. So I can do this again, auto update there, which is insanely cool. And then I could go ahead and publish that as well. So the boring part of this process is I'm gonna have to copy over all of my posts eventually to Sanity to get this to work. Here's the last thing I want to do is I want to tie this into the Create Pages API in Gatsby, because after that, if I get all of that working, then I just need to actually move my content over. You can use Sanity API to migrate them really easily. That's a good idea too. I'm getting like all the excitement right now. This is cool. I want to make sure also my streaming stuff still, I've got a built-in like live feed of my stream on my computer, which is kind of cool, or on that page. And then I want to make sure that these things, these links still look right. Oh, this is changing it to a p tag, so I need to figure out that. Anyway, that's not a huge deal, so I'll get back to that in a little bit. All right, let's go back to blog, and then I need to actually generate the test page or the actual pages for these. The entire studio runs on top of the API. Sweet. That's how Auth0 is, by the way. Like the Auth0 management API, the GUI, the dashboard actually uses the management API. So that makes sense. So I need to go into the node, and let's just start with post, and I'm going to copy a bunch of this stuff from here. So the query that we wrote earlier, let's just copy that over, and we're going to replace this post query with this new post query. This is post query, maybe. Post result, or is that, maybe that's not how it was set up. What did this do before? This called, okay, so we need to just pass the query inside of here. So let's just grab the query itself. So this thing, so let's just grab that query and let's replace all of this query. So everybody, I'm assuming like people seem pretty familiar with Gatsby so far. So probably most people that are still active in the chat understand what I'm doing. If you don't, you can let me know. But we'll get the post that way. Post result dot errors, throw errors, and then we want post result. Let's see, what did we say it was earlier? Post result dot data dot all sanity post dot nodes. Post result dot data dot all sanity dot nodes, and then I took out some of this filtering stuff, so I'm not doing that right now. And then I'm going through each post and I'm using the slug. So in this case, and is this nodes or nodes? Post.length, and I don't actually need the node here. How did I do? And I'm not actually using these right now. Got to run. Was fun to tag along. Let's connect after. Yeah, please do. Really good to meet you. Thanks a ton for being here. And just out of curiosity, for other people that have been really active, Corey, what's your background? What do you do? And Brad was another one of the really active ones here, and I've talked to him a lot. And then Luch Hoster, if you're here too, let me know what you all do. I'd love to make connections with you as well and talk about this fun stuff later on. I'm going to get rid of, I'm not actually using any of this, so I'm going to get rid of this stuff for now. Brad's a front-end dev at Adobe. I knew that. Corey is a freelance developer. Sweet. Corey, are you on Twitter? What's your handle? Maybe it's the same thing. Let's see. Corey Ward. Right there. Huge fan of Gatsby and Sanity.io. Sweet. Awesome. Glad to make a connection. And Chris on Code is silently going to jump in to say that he makes codes. Chris, how long have you been here? You might have actually rated when Sam came over, but you haven't talked until now. Luch Holster is a front-end dev at an agency in Vegas. I've been doing lots of things with Sanity lately. Chris, no worries for being late. Chris, do you and Luch Hoster, if I'm saying that right, or maybe Luke Hoster, do you guys know each other? both in Vegas. Yeah, you ought to make that connection. And then Luke Hoster, are you on Twitter as well? Luke Hoster. I don't know if that's yeah, front end dev Guatemala. I tweet en Spanglish. Podemos hablar un poco en español si quieres. And we can mix with Spanglish too. Yeah, just added you, just followed you on Twitter. I did. You two will have to connect. Cool. Making connections all the way around. All right. So what am I doing? Back in the code. I want to iterate through these and grab. What did we say the slug was? So the slug is, what's the other file? To get the slug, it is .slug.current. So it'll look like this, hopefully. Chris, I wouldn't say, well, so here's the thing. At some point in my life, I've considered myself to be fluent in Spanish. I don't anymore, at least speaking. I can read fluently. Fun fact, I've read all the Harry Potter books in Spanish. It helps when you know the story really well. I don't have much of a use to speak Spanish. I just don't speak very often. And so like yeah, I don't know. I don't speak all that often. So I would consider myself fluent in reading and like highly conversational in Spanish. Wife is Mexican. I have great comprehension, but I speak slowly. Sweet. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just cool to learn a different language and be able to communicate regardless. So I think that's super cool. And especially when you have the connection at home to be able to learn and speak. I don't know does she enjoy you learning? Does she enjoy like teaching and correcting and that kind of stuff? Because I've spent a lot of time around people and I just want to like ask. And I feel like I could be annoying about it. But it's fun to learn regardless. So. Okay. So she may or may not speak all that much. Yeah. I bet like grammatically she may not be as good, but she can speak probably just from being around family. Oh, she's still okay. I've got one of my best friends that I actually learned Spanish from, and his family. Like my grammar is much better than his because I learned Spanish alongside him in school. So especially like writing, like spelling, I'm a better speller in Spanish than he is, but he is like completely fluent in speaking Spanish. So it's an interesting dynamic there. All right, let's see if we're making any progress. So for each one of these posts, I want to get post.slug.current, and that's all. And that should that should create that page for it based on that slug, if we're lucky. Yeah. And it's funny, he used to kind of struggle with the test in Spanish, oddly enough, because he like grammatically wouldn't quite know. And he's from Argentina, and some of the commands, los mandatos, are different in Argentina because or specifically Buenos Aires. They do some specific things. So he would mess up because he would like say the things that he speaks, but it's not technically correct in Spain or like proper Spanish that you would learn in the classroom. So, all right, I think if I click on this link, it should take us to a page and it says 404. So that didn't quite work. All right. So, that didn't work. I wonder, did any of page not found, test post, did any of this fail? Use static query, contact form. Wow. Look at all those things I got to fix. Did any of GraphQL query in the non-page component will not be run? Exported queries are only blog post. Oh, we also need to update this thing. So we need to add the same query here. So the same query we had to get the post, we need to, actually, I don't even know why this is in this page query. We don't need, or yeah, we do. I guess we do for the SEO stuff, I guess. All right, let's see, what's the best way to copy this in here? Copy that in and get rid of the query line and the all sanity posts. I think that looks formatted correctly. And then we want to query something like this. So let me copy this and then get rid of all the markdown stuff. And we will call this all sanity post and get rid of that one. And then we want to check that the slug field equals the slug. And that may not actually, can you put a period in there like that? Like that variable slug.current? Because the problem is in the Gatsby node, like we're passing just the slug string. Or no, sorry, here for the path. Oh, why do I not do that here too? Context. So this should be post.slug.current. And I don't know how to compare that in GraphQL. We'll see. I don't know if you can do that dot. So where the slug.current property, maybe that'll work. I don't know. Let's try it out. Usually I use, oh, that makes much more sense. Let's actually do that to use the ID. So the context will be ID, and then this will be post._ID. I like that a lot more. And then inside of here, we'll do the thing that comes in is the ID. So we'll say the ID equals the _ID. I think. What did we mess up here? On our argument fields, on type all sanity post. Maybe it's not. I'm not that great at no, just $ID. This one is $ID. Doesn't that need to match the actual property? Or is this, which one is which? Is this thing pointing to this thing up here? That's probably what it is. So this one is probably needs to be _ID, I think. And then I might have been wrong about fields. So on the blog query, where is the ID? Do we need, well, I guess here we can just paste this thing in I'm just going to copy this because I don't feel like messing around with it. All right. Still, it should be all sanity post and there's no fields. I wonder why. Was fields like the front? No, that wasn't the front matter. Why did I have fields before? I don't know. And this should be all sanity post like that. And I think I still need to restart this. So both of those are just $ID. Expected name found. Let me restart this just in case. I'm not sure. You only want one post and no nodes. Ah, you're right. Okay. Who is equally what's going on? Then you have, okay. Yep, you're right. So that's why you had the sanity post. And then I don't have nodes. So get rid of that thing like that. I think I messed that up. Does that still, I don't know if that works or not. Then you have data.sanity post. You missed an opening, curly bracket. This is the worst. So, oh, on this side. All right, and then I get rid of nodes and then get rid of that thing there. I think I'm still, oh, this is fun. So this should definitely have an opening bracket there. And I shouldn't need the nodes property because it should just be one. So I would think it's this one and that one. Do we have an example in that I can just copy? Actually, well, where is the Sanity plugin? Does it have an example of a query? Sanity person. So something like this. Oh, my bad. Sanity post. I gave you an extra. I knew one of those wasn't supposed to be a $sign. I say that. I thought it was. But I also think that would probably be underscore ID, right? Because the property on that object and the model is underscore ID. I think. I'll save that and see. All right, what does that compiled at least? Okay, so this should be underscore ID. Okay, man, because I was starting to feel real lost right there. And I don't know if I need to post. I might need to come back to that. So let's just see if we even generate this page successfully. Standards has field type name, which has conflicts with internal renaming. Nope. Blog post. It is a page component. Possible you're trying to create two pages that's failing. Okay, so something's going wrong. So let's look at in here. Let's log out the post and the post.slug.current. Seems like your Gatsby node isn't specifying the correct template. Gatsby isn't picking. It should have. I didn't change that part, but I can double check. So here's the query. And then we've got blog posts is the object. And we'll pass that as the component blog post here. I didn't change that. So I don't think that's messing up. Although I don't know for sure, obviously. So can I log these out when it's trying to build? If post is empty. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like, so no, that's getting it. So there it is. It looks like it's getting that object, and you can see, or getting that array. It's got the one object in it, and then it's printing out the slug.current too. So that looks right. This loads. That's better. Okay, sweet. So that actually made it to the page. I don't know what was wrong. Maybe I didn't restart the server or something. So that's like at least making it to the page. Now, this will be, let's convert this thing like I did before. So it's in the format that I want. So, well, actually it's just one post. Yeah. Anyway. All right. So one post. So it'll be post.title, I think is fine. We don't have an excerpt yet, so I need to create one. I don't know. Images is kind of a stretch. URL. This is for the share stuff. Is post.frontmatter. So not front matter, but slug.current in this case. And I want to clean this up to convert this post. Actually, let's just go ahead and do that. Because I want to go ahead and just have this be in a format that I look for. So here's the post. And I'm going to change this to be... Actually, we can do this all online. So we'll take we'll take these properties, we'll spill them out, and then we will overwrite, just like we did in blogs, these things like this. So, dot, and this is not Markdown remark. Rats, what is, let me log this out. It'll be, well, I guess it'll be the sanity post, hopefully. Props.data.sanity post, I think. And then all of this will be the post here. So that, and that. And then let's try to log out the actual post itself. And then on the front matter, front matter dot, I'm going to replace with nothing. So get rid of front matter dot, and I'm going to comment that out for now and just set this string. All right, let's see if that gets us any closer. That loads a page. Sweet. So we got the page created and it actually loads. Now what we send down to the, let's see, there's the title, the publish date. And actually, let's look at what we logged out in there of how we converted that object. The console object here. So it has title slug, body, has published date. I think I called this publish date. Yep. And I'll probably have to fix that on the other one too. So there's the date. I need to format that. And then what else are we trying to display? The title, date. Then we do the HTML. So just like we did with our card, we can do this thing of, I don't know if I need to wrap that, and a section tag, and this will be the post dot body. Is that what it ended up being called? It looks like no. React Markdown. Oh, we gotta import the React Markdown. Will that work? Sweet. I'm amazed. That's the majority of the way there. Now I just need to get into testing like some more difficult Markdown and stuff. Sweet. This has been like super, super fun and super incredibly helpful to have people here to help me do this. I think I'm going to call it a day, and then I'll work on this, like converting the data over later myself, like the boring part, obviously. Any last questions or comments or anything before we wrap up? I'm glad to make some good connections with people on here. Thanks again for helping out and all the feedback and advice and stuff. I never would have made it this far without it. So show the pricing once again. Sanity pricing. And I'm curious to know like when, if ever, I would hit any of these limits. But on here, the one that I care about is the free tier with like, then there's the extra. So 5,000 or 500 requests per month. No, 500. Yeah, 500,000. So that's a ton per month for free. 10 gigs of bandwidth, and you can pay $1 a month for extra bandwidth. 100 listeners, API requests. I think you use Syntax FM code to double the free. Oh, sweet. I need to do that because Syntax is one of the big places that I heard about Sanity too. I wonder if I log in, where can I create my account? Delete me, or maybe did I need it to sign up? Hopefully not. Not that. Manage developer account. You already did. So like I don't have I don't have the way or plan. Is there, you're currently a developer plan. This is great. Add payment details. Not yet. See plan right there. You can reach out to, okay. Yeah, I'll reach out to him then and ask him about that. I'm really, really happy with this. I'm really glad I did this. I'm really excited about this content going forward, to be honest. Yeah, I think this is going to be really sweet. All right. Yeah, I will. I'll reach out to him to get that set up later on. All right. Any last thoughts as we wrap up? I'm going to stand up in the meantime. All right. All right. I'm going to call it quits. I'm going to get some food and honestly probably take a nap. But this has been a ton of fun. Thanks again for being here. I appreciate all the help. If I can return the favor in some way, please let me know and I will do my best to do so. So thanks again for being here. And I will see you all tomorrow or later. See ya.